Today we're going to be jumping into the psyche of a flex workspace operator. Today we're joined by Kasia Stelmark. She's the New South Wales manager at tech co-working hub Stone and Chalk. She is also a flex workspace strategist and community consultant helping shape the future of work. With expertise in how environments influence behavior, Kasia explores workspace evolution from cubicles to intentional flex spaces supporting deep work and spontaneous learning. So you're thinking of getting a camera?
Yes, indeed. Although there's so much to choose from. Which one do I get? Do I get the Canon? Do I get the Sony? And then there's obviously full frame. Then there's the different versions. Do I get the Mark II? Do I get the Mark III? Do I get the Mark IV? Do I get the 5 from the Sony?
It sounds like Iron Man suits that you're listing off.
That'd be great.
Because we're using Lumixes right now.
Yeah.
But I know Sony's are really good. So thanks for joining us, Kasia. Really appreciate it. You and I go way back. And you've actually been in flex and co-working way more than I have.
Really? No, that's not true.
I think so. I think you date back all the way to the very beginning of the TankStream origin. Yeah. I think I started my two-space journey maybe around then, the two-space co-working startup. But you've been a big part of even guiding me to where I am today. So I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate your time. And you know, the theme of this series is really where we think the future of office work is going and how flex plays a role. And we're trying to look at it a bit differently from just the co-working lens. But this particular episode, I think, is going to be fascinating because you've seen it evolve, right? You've been in this space a lot. So I think I would love to kick this off by just getting your overarching view of how you've seen co-working evolve.
It's changed a lot. I think I wrote a little bit of a thought piece just before COVID, ironically, about how it has evolved. Because I think if you look back to the 70s, I believe it is, don't quote me on it, that it was traditionally like workspace was more those cubicles. And like they did serve a purpose for deep work, but they came a little bit soulless and that whole kind of like you have a leader watching over all their minions to make sure that they obviously achieve the tasks that have been set out. And then with the tech boom, you saw obviously the Google campus that came through, which was more of a holistic of like, how do we make spaces more thought-provoking? How do we make the places more cohesive? Bringing people together like the fire did to create new ideas. Yep. But obviously that was reserved for people that had the cash flow in which to spend and splurge on these campuses, which were all-consuming. And it, you know, albeit became a little bit cultist. Yeah. You know, you lived on breathed in the campus and I'm not sure if that was the full extreme either that was the benefit. So you saw the pendulum swing from one to another. Yep. And then obviously you saw the first iterations of like flex space or co-working back then, where it was people with, you know, a sublet floor, getting mismatched furniture with the whole purpose of just bringing people together that were pursuing their passions, who needed a support network, who needed access to connections so that, you know, while you're doing BAU, you can't think of everything, but being in a space with multitudes of different thoughts and different people, it accelerates that process. Yep. But obviously then that kind of evolved of like, okay, we have mismatched furniture. This seems to be catching on. So then why don't we formalize it? And then we started, you know, workspace design started coming in. But then it also became a bit too prescriptive, I feel, over time, where the space was a bit too dynamic. It was still too activity work-based design, so that then the deep work got a little bit lost. And I think we lost ourselves a little bit in this process. So you can see how it's evolved over time, and you can see that we still haven't nailed the ideal model. Yep. Because I think what we still are missing as a collective is that space matters. However, it's not necessarily required at all times, but it is required at specific pivotal moments of your day. And I think we are on a journey of like trying to unpack and understand what are those pivotal moments. How can we make space dynamic or at least elastic enough so that we can retain that stickiness, however, still fall into that realm of it is a physical asset. It's still you can't magically move walls and you know, do the things that you know, hopefully in the future one day we can if technology allows us. Yeah. So how do we interplay and understand how people relate to one another, create that stickiness, but still have value in a fixed asset and make sure that everyone along the supply chain is benefiting from it? Yeah. Do I have the answers? No. But I can see that obviously there is a place for deep work, and I have seen instances where we're potentially repeating history, where we're going back to cubicles. I've seen architects and designers saying, oh no, they're called consultation rooms, but you're still in there for 8 hours of the day. So I think what I'm seeing is the pendulum swing. My concern is that we're starting to fall back into old patterns rather than taking the things that we've learnt along the journey of like what's worked.
Yep.
And also then recognizing kind of the things that didn't work. So how can we evolve it so we're not going from one extreme to another and having these like interior workspace fads, I would say.
Because one interesting thing you raise, actually before that, crazy idea,
Yeah.
you ready?
You're right.
And totally not functional now, but if we're talking what could be possible in the future,
Big picture.
I always thought what would be super cool and probably only possible on lower floors, if you think about a building, think of it like Lego or like shipping containers, because they've kind of done it that like in Singapore, I believe, a couple of buildings like that. Imagine if you had a floor plan where a section of it you could remove and replace so that amenity changes every quarter. So you can literally survey your employees and be like, what do you want? Okay, you want wellness? Done. What do you want now? You want, I don't know, pickleball thing?
Yeah.
Okay, done. Like, anyway, random idea.
I honestly think that would be super cool if that was even
If there was a
feasible.
thing, because then the cost is removed from it, because it's almost like you subscribe, random again, Blade Runner, futuristic ideas. You subscribe to this kind of scenario where you get different rooms and you can kind of pick and choose without the annoyance of we got to change the fit out. This doesn't make commercial sense because you just plug and play.
But even think on that, like there's an insurgent of 3D printing homes. What if we internal fit outs could be 3D printed?
No, that's cool.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's not unfeasible for that to be a way of the future, but also understanding that like we have a lot of materials that we use in different industries that are potentially applicable in this industry, like in say film and sound. We have acoustic curtains and that can create, you can move those and you can create quiet focus zones.
Because that's cool, because you want to share your own film.
Well,
You've been in some pretty cool movies.
It's been pretty cool movies. I'm not going to lie. I've been very fortunate to have some amazing experiences for someone who fell into it from sheer delight.
Great Gatsby, Shang-Chi, just to name a few. You've got your own thing coming out, not to go into.
I do. I have a few horror films, which were
So cool.
ironic, but cathartic for what I've been through in life. So I see like we still have silos of information. I think when we start unpacking those across different industries, across different disciplines, that's where the magic's going to start happening. And that's why I really think flex space is so valuable, because it is a place where the intersection of all these intelligent, thought-provoking people can commingle.
Yeah.
And then, to my second point, I was talking to you recently about that agglomerated learnings through imitation. Because when you're exposed, there's that old saying that they say to you as you grow up and you hate it. It's like, you're the sum of your surroundings and you're the sum of what you consume. And it's like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of true.
Yeah.
And so if you think of these spaces that are this melting pot of different thoughts, imagine what you become as a result of being exposed to so many different thoughts, as opposed to sticking to what you know and being within a confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And I think
I
that's
agree.
where the magic happens. And I think that's an undervalued, unique offering that co-working and flex provides when it comes to city planning. It comes to obviously where we're going as humanity. I think, it's a pretty interesting space to play.
I mean, the point even you raised around acoustic curtains, you know what I think would be a really cool exercise? It's you almost get like a co-working designer from a fit out and a floor plan perspective, and you get a bunch of people in movie and media, and then you go, hey, if you had to design the perfect space and lean into all of those different things, acoustic treatment, all that kind of stuff, what ideas could you come up with? Or if there's a niche co-working space for film and filmography, I'm sure the natural level, there'll be some ideas that emerge into how you could level up that space.
Think of like film sets. They make all of these worlds and they move them around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make workspace applicable to all these different disciplines, but move it around.
Yeah.
So I think there's something in there, because they build something up, they pack it down, they rebuild it, they put something else on. There's something in that yet to be
I almost
learned.
feel like we should do a separate podcast unpacking exactly that. Hey, what do you think? How do you think we could borrow disciplines from there